me see if, I think this is still private. Yeah, that's private. Okay, it's blocking me there. Okay, let's try it. Oh, let's try it this way, I guess. Oh no. Okay. New stream from someplace. Add channel, LinkedIn, profile. We're gonna see. If this will work. I am trying something as we speak. Going live. Okay, let's try it this way instead. Get rid of that one. Oh, no, I guess I have to do this. Oh, it says that it's, oh, okay. So it's working on LinkedIn. I am trying something as we speak. Live. All right, I don't know why that's doing that. Oh, it says that it's, oh, okay, so it's working on LinkedIn. Oh. Okay. All right, so we're going to do that. All right. Okay, that's strange. Okay, I don't know if this is actually live or not now. Okay, no, it says that I'm live. So we're going to, oh, I can't. I wonder why. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess with that. We're just going to check on YouTube, see how that's going. Where? There we go. My videos. Let's go to live. It should be live right now. It says that I'm live. Okay, all right. So thank you for joining today. I didn't realize this was actually live on YouTube because it's not giving me everything else anywhere else. All right, cool. I am live and it does look like it is visible to others. So thanks for your patience. And I'm going to go ahead and go live over here. Okay. It is currently bringing up my other live. And that is going great. Okay. We are live. I'm a little confused because I'm using a new software and it looks like it is not working as expected. That's okay. That's why I'm testing it. So anyway, hi, my name is Cassandra, aka the Prosperous Heart, and I am very excited because it's December. It's now December 1st, 2025. If you're watching this before the end of the year, you have a great opportunity to join something very new for me and coming in 2025, but that's not what this video is for. If you want to know more information, please do reach out. This video is actually going to be some vibe coding. So when you think of vibe coding, you might be thinking of AI, you might be thinking of Claude, GitHub Copilot, things like that. I'm going to be sharing some of that with you today, but I wanted to kind of give you a behind the scenes look at some of the things that I'm preparing for my students as well as for myself. So starting in the new year, I am kind of revamping my monthly mentorship program where I am taking someone from, a newbie coder to a systems architect. There's so much in between, and so I'm starting back at ground one and helping people who either maybe are looking to learn Python or maybe have like a introductory grasp of it, but just kind of want some more guidance. So I'm starting there first while I am building up people's skill sets with what I know about project management, systems design, and architecture, and things like that. So this stuff that I'm about to share with you in just a moment, I'm taking the stuff that I've made for my bootcamp and kind of giving it a next level feel. So it is absolutely free. If you want to go to the repo, I'll make sure that the link is provided after this call so I can make sure the time is optimized. But that repo is 100% free. It is public. It's in GitHub. And it's basically Python basics. It takes you through, it walks you through, explains what things are, gives you some stuff in something called Jupyter Notebook where you can actually run the different examples. And I found out recently that there's something called MkDocs that can take Markdown files and Jupyter Notebook, supposedly, this is what we're going to be testing today, and take them and put them into what's called a static website. So the things you go to on your browsers, those are basically static websites. And so I'm going to be taking that and converting from what it currently is, where it's just a repo with a bunch of Jupyter notebooks that you have to manually download and run on your machine. I'm going to be using the MkDocs to transform this repo into a website that people can actually go through and according to what I found out through Copilot and maybe even Claude, actually use them in browser instead of having to download them every time. I am all about empowering people and making things easier and supporting those around me. And so, it can be a struggle when you're trying to learn something and, maybe the documentation is out of date or it's hard to find. Now, I structured this in a way that it was like, I attempted to structure it in a way that it was very simple for people. We have week one with, lesson one, lesson two, lesson three, but you still have to go into and out of each one. Whereas this one, it might be a little bit easier to navigate since it'll be on a website. And I'll show you what that is in just a second. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Again, I am still getting used to this new setup, so thank you for your patience. Okay, so you should be seeing now the GitHub repo. I'm just checking over here on my other screen right now to make sure that it's accurate. You should be able to see the repo. And this is what it looks like, right? Again, you have to go into each week. You've got to look at each Jupyter notebook, which again, doesn't have the best visual on GitHub, as it were, right? So you can see all this information here. You can see what you would have to run, but you can't actually run it from within GitHub. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be leveraging Claude today, not Copilot, just because I want to keep things simple. And I'm going to be asking a few questions. So the first thing is that this repo was made, I'm not sure how many years ago at this point. I used the old version of using the requirements text doc and the requirements-dev text file and using that to create a virtual environment. Specifically, I think it's virtual env wrapper-win. I have loved that tool for so long. It made things so easy and navigable. It just made things easy. Now, I still promote this to people, but there is something new called UV. I don't know what it stands for. It's by Astral. And I'm still not entirely certain about a lot of the ins and outs of it, but it seems like a better option. There's some things that I am not sure about, such as, supposedly if you do it a certain way, it doesn't install your modules in your local machine. It's supposed to do it inside a virtual environment, but I have not found that to be the case if I use UV pip install whatever. But if I use UV add, it seems fine. I'm not going to go into all the intricacies of that. I am, however, going to walk you through how to convert your current repo to this newer version. There are a lot of benefits to do so. Aside from not having to have, virtual env wrapper on there and, other things like that, but also because it uses a TOML file, it uses some other stuff. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start my Claude CLI. I do have the paid version. So far, I really like it, but I use it for a lot of things. I also use it in conjunction with Copilot. And one thing that I do want to bring to your attention right now is there's something called Project Code Guard. Cisco security team created this, I don't think too long ago, and it is basically a structure around using AI, making it more secure. So I have the Claude one already here, and I believe it is, is it F? Oh, I don't remember. I'm still learning Claude and all the things. But if you go to the Code Guard and look that up, it talks to you about how, what, I'll just show you. It's fine. So Code Guard, this is their MkDocs site. And if you go here and go to Claude Code plugin, you'll see plugin. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So if you look at plugin, I already have the Claude Code plugin installed on my machine. You'll see that it's, if I go to manage and uninstall, you'll see that I already have it. I'm just going to exit out. But again, if you come here, it talks to you about how to use the Claude Code plugin. It talks to you about how to use it for Copilot. And basically all this does is it gives you kind of like a bumper around making sure that the code that's being written by AI is less likely to have security issues. So I have that. I'm not going to go into that right now. That'll be another video for another day. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use Claude and say, hey, Claude, this repo needs to transition from the current virtual environment setup to UV. I never want to use UV pip install, only UV add. Let's see. I am also going to be leveraging MkDocs. So I want you to create a new Markdown file in the tutorials folder explaining how to take any repo and make it a UV project. Write it in such a way that it is easy to follow with, I don't know, additional links for more information. Yeah, we'll start with that. Let's see what it does. So Claude will take that command and it'll do some finagling or some other fun words to say, hey, I'm looking through things. It will start to explain a little bit on, what it's doing. So it's going to create a comprehensive tutorial on transitioning repos to use UV. It looks like this is not, it is another color, but it's not a link. Why is this not? Okay. So it's going to look through my structure, it's going to look through my files, it's going to look through all the things that are currently available, and then eventually it will spit out something. So we're going to give it a little bit to go through. And you should start to see a new Markdown file pop up once it is ready. Something that I've found about vibe coding is that a few years ago when I was in the data and analytics organization within Cisco, I got to see firsthand how some of our data scientists work. And sometimes they would be seemingly not doing anything. And, I found that very strange. And so when I started to talk to some of them, they explained that, we're actually working, we're waiting on our things to finish doing what they're doing. And I thought, that seems odd. As a software engineer, I don't generally have to wait on things to come back to me. Usually an API is fairly fast. There's usually not a lot of downtime in seeing how my changes will impact what I might be doing. And so I had never experienced that. Well, with this, I have no excuse now, right? So you have to wait for it to finish thinking. It's not an immediate, quick one and done. Sometimes it can be, but for things like this where it has to look through the whole repo, which has a lot of files, I'm not entirely sure, but I know it has a lot. It does take some time. So as you can see, it has finished whatever it's doing, and unlike Copilot, it doesn't always create the file straight out the gate. I'm not entirely sure why. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So in this particular instance, it's saying, okay, it's done, it's read all the things. It's going to update its to-do list. So it has a list that it creates to complete your ask. And this is tutorial on transitioning. So you'll just read through it. Just for the sake of today, I'm actually going to assume that what it's doing is correct. Since this isn't code, I'm not too worried about it. I can just change the Markdown file later. I'm going to leave it as is. One thing to keep in mind is that sometimes when Gen AI, generational AI, comes out and it's writing things, sometimes it doesn't get it right, especially when it's trying to do Markdown sometimes. And I usually see this not necessarily in Claude, but in Copilot. It'll be like the tick backslash Markdown, and then the same thing for Bash. But the problem is that with Markdown, those 3 backticks are like the start and end of a section. So it can start to be really weird in how it renders because it's not done properly. So do keep an eye out for that. So at first glance, this looks right. This is probably accurate. It might not be. I personally don't like that it added this stuff here because I don't want it there. Something that you can say in your prompting is things like, don't add in the information from the files because that's duplicate. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say no and tell Claude what to do differently. The prior work was great, but we want to be efficient and minimize duplication. Whatever was written and pulled from elsewhere, for example, the information in the requirements text file, requirements-dev text file, should not be in the Markdown. So one other thing about what I personally do is I have heard that if you treat the AI generators like Claude, Copilot, etc., kindly, you might see a difference in the output that is created. Now, if you've ever watched Terminator, I don't necessarily believe that, these things are going to do that kind of work. However, I do know that there was something that happened recently where I believe it was China leveraged Claude to do an automated attack, and it was insane. So while wasn't written by a computer necessarily, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that people cannot explain with AI. And so why not just be nice? Just make sure that, you're being kind, just in general. There's probably also like brain science behind that because the more you do something, the more you are going to do it, right? If you're nice to everyone, you're probably gonna be nice to other people that you don't normally meet. But if you're kind of cranky in some conversations, especially when you don't have people in front of you, you might sound cranky in your other communications. So like I said, I just try to be nice to the AI regardless. Okay, so here some information. I'm not going to go through it. Like I said, you can keep working back and forth with the AI. I'm just going to say yes. I am not going to allow all edits during the session because again, you don't want full control from the AI. There have been times where it tries to run something that I know not only would be wrong, but it would actually break what I'm doing. I've also seen horror stories where people use things like, I think it was anti-gravity maybe, where it deleted their whole hard drive. I don't know if that's true. I've only seen like one instance of it on a message board somewhere. But if you say, yes, you can do whatever you want, and it does whatever it wants, it's going to do some weird things, some super weird things. That's why it's called hallucinations, one of the reasons. So I'm just going to say, yes, I want it to create it. I do not allow all edits, so just number 1. So now it's going to create that file, transitioning to UV and MD. And you will see that this is now the file that it has on what to do. So I am not on Mac or Linux. I am on Windows. I have already run this, so I know that UV already exists. In fact, I believe if I want to do it the way that I'm thinking, okay. Yeah, it's not on the drive that I need it to be on. I don't know if this will work. Let's try it. So yeah, let's try it. So we're going to go in pip list because I don't think I have it on my local here on the D drive. I do not. So pip install UV. It's going to install UV into my system. Defaulting to user installation because normal set packages are not writable. I don't know why it says that. Okay, it's fine. It's still installed. All right, so it's now installed. I know I can tell by doing the version. Hooray, awesome. So migration guide, right? I'm not in an active environment right now. I do have one that I made here. Fun fact, if you do use virtual environments and then, you uninstall the Python version or something else where that V&V no longer works, you can still pull the requirements from there. I used, again, GenAI to help me do that. That's how I got these from here. I'm not going to go through that today. Maybe if there's interest, I can create training. But I'm going to go ahead and initialize the project. So I'm currently in my project. This is the path for it. I'm going to do UV init. So it's now initialized this new UV project, as it were. It has created the Python dash version here, which this one is currently 3.14. That is the most recent one that I've installed. It has added this main.py, which is just a basically hello world. It has added nope, had that one already. The TOML file, which is, again, just the basic information here. I'm going to update the description. So Python Basics Bootcamp project with training and additional supporting materials. Okay. The README is there. Okay, so it doesn't show any dependencies because we haven't added anything yet. I'm going to leave the name as is. Go ahead and close that out. Okay, great. So from there, we've initialized the project. We need to convert the requirements to the PyProject TOML file. And so in order to do that, I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually just going to do the add, which is this part right here. So I already confirm. I think this is for Linux, so that needs to be updated. But for my intents and purposes, why is it doing that? We're going to do UV add -r. No, we're not going to do that. The first step, and I don't think that it mentioned here, the first step is now that it's been initialized, oh, I may have messed that up because I don't want to add it without it being inside of the virtual environment. So let's go back to Claude. And I am following the tutorial you gave, and there seems to be an issue. After running pip install UV and UV init in my project, there was no step to initialize the virtual environment before suggesting UV add. What steps are missing? And is there anything I need to do to resolve my mistake? I don't think so. I think UV add simply just sets up the project. I don't think it does anything that would add anything to your local machine, but we're just going to tell it what we noticed and let it do its thing. Now, if you had not already been working with UV, you may not have known this was necessary. So I highly suggest that before you use anything that you are trying to work with, read the documentation. It may not always be the best and it may be a little confusing, but if it's there, use it. It's going to support you in the long run. So this is telling me, oh, great, I didn't make a mistake. I didn't think I did, but here's what's happening. Okay, so now it's telling you what is actually going on. So when you do UV add package, UV automatically creates a virtual environment if it doesn't exist, which it does. And this is actually from before. So I'm going to, just for sake of the call, going to call it original. I don't know if that will allow us to run. So let me try a different here. .venv scripts activate. Cool, it does. So we'll just leave that activate. Deactivate. Strange. Okay, well, we'll just close that and that's fine. So as it was saying just a second ago, I think that's actually because of something else I did, but it doesn't matter. So it'll create a virtual environment when you add it, and it'll create .venv if it doesn't exist. It will then add that package to PyProject TOML, install the package in the virtual environment, and update UV lock, which we don't currently have right now, but it will add that to this project. So it's checking the project. Again, if you don't know what this is doing, don't do it. You can also say, hey, please explain the command you want to, please always explain the command you want to do before asking if I will allow it. Also, please explain how I can add these always rules so I don't have to keep reminding you. Okay, so it's taking that back and it is figuring out the next steps. Oh, and I see that my screen is white. Why is my screen white? That's interesting. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to try sharing again. Because it looks like it's a white screen on LinkedIn. And it hasn't changed. Oh, maybe it will change. Oh, it hasn't changed. Well, if I'm doing this, it's not helpful for you. So, hi, Mr. Sadie. Thank you for joining. I don't know why it won't share. So, I guess I will not be doing this today. I'm going to have to do it another time because it is already after midnight for me. And if I can't show you, then we can't really move forward. So I will figure out a different way of doing this tomorrow. And we will get this done together. So thanks for your time. And I guess I will go ahead and stop sharing again. Oh, it's loading. I see. Thank you for the white screen. I see that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. So stopping sharing. Thanks again for your time. And like I said, I will finish this out tomorrow. I'm going to keep the file that as is and the quad discussion, but I am going to undo some of the things that I created so that way you can see what this looks like in the future. And I guess I will not be using meetn for this in the future since it gave you a white screen randomly all of a sudden. And we will start over again tomorrow. So thank you for your time. If you would like to see something else in the future, please do let me know. Again, I'm really passionate about supporting software developers and Pythonistas like myself to not only be able to take from code to clarity and confidence, but also to be able to lead the way with their teams. Too often I see developers who get stuck in just coding what they're told, and they want to do more, but they don't know how, or they're not really sure, you know, how to plan it or things like that. And so in my monthly mentorship program, I take what I learn, break it down into bite-sized pieces, and share it with those who are curious and who want to take that next step. So again, thank you so much for watching. I will be doing this again, I guess later today since it's after midnight, and we will get this done together. So thanks so much for your time. Hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh.